So, welcome back to Who Gives a Folk, a channel that covers all those weird little TV programs and films that aren't quite folk horror, aren't quite normal telly. And today I want to go back to that wonderful anthology called West Country Tales, and the second program in the first season called The Poacher. Now, The Poacher is obviously a well-known character of myth, and in this program it opens up in a pub where the poacher is giving the narration. He's telling a story, and he talks about the people in the pub, how he goes in there, and people always want to hear stories of poaching, and you're never quite sure if this is a true story or if this is just a tale he's made in the pub. But basically, the narration unfolds, and it is largely narrated. There's very little actual dialogue. But he's a poacher. He has his own ways. He's proud of his occupation. He does other things as well. He does odd jobs, mending nets, painting, just the sort of things that people use to get by. And he's got his own standards, his own code of conduct as a poacher. He'll say several times things like that he never killed for the sake of killing, and he comments on pheasant shooting, and he says, "That's not sport, that's murder. Slaughtering things you can't recreate, that's not for me." And at one point he lines his gun up on a fox, and the relationship between him and the fox is we're both after the same thing, a duck. But if I don't get a duck, I go home to bread and cheese. If a fox doesn't get a duck, he's got nothing. So he's building up this kind of dialogue where he's not a bad person. He takes a sort of moral stance on his killing. But he's not just a poacher or an odd job man. He's also a cunning man. At one point he talks about a stick, a twig, that's been wrapped in honeysuckle, and we see him removing the honeysuckle and carving the twig. And he said that's got magic, and he's seen things done. He cures warts. A young lad from the village visits him. He draws a magic circle and gives the boy a potato cut in half to put on the wart. So he's carrying the role of the old cunning man, the local wise man, as well as the poacher. This is all wrapped up into a strong narrative based on that archetypes that are very common in rural folklore. And as he says, he's good at his profession, he's good at his job. Until one day he doesn't catch anything. Not a duck, not a pheasant, not even a rabbit. And this carries on for 7 days. And he's confused. He goes back to his old ways, he goes back to the basics, and he's still not catching anything. But on the 8th day, he sees a flame flickering in the night. And he goes to try and see what it is. But as he gets close, it just disappears. He goes to where the fire was, and there's a circle in the mud. And he says, I was wary of that, because I know about these things. But there are ashes inside the circle, and he touches them, and they're stone cold. And this sort of goes on for another 6 days, where he just doesn't catch anything, and he still sees that flame every night. But whenever he gets close, 100 yards, 50 yards, 25 yards, and then it goes. Until on the 7th night, as he's watching, he sees a figure cross the flames. And the figure calls to him in. And he's scared. The figure invites him down and to join him. And he says things like, "I've been waiting for you. How can I help you?" And when the poacher gets a bit uneasy about a fire being seen by the keepers, Says there's only two people in this world can see that flame, you and me. Sorry about the accents. I do drop into accents every now and then. Absolutely rubbish at them. They normally end up sounding like the person's from Wales. I will try and avoid it, but I'm not very good at avoiding it either. Anyway, so he's in the circle with the figure, and eventually he plucks up the courage to say, "What's your name?" And the figure says, "Look down." And when he looks down, he sees two cloven hooves. To many viewer, that would probably indicate the devil. But we see in the credits, and only in the credits, who it really is. But eventually, after many hours from the sounds of it, the figure touches him on the shoulder, and it burns, an intense burning. And he falls asleep. When he wakes up, the figure has gone. And he runs home in a panic. No professional poacher anymore, just a man trying to escape and get home. And when he gets home, he can see the image, he can see the mark on his shoulder. But after that, whenever he sets a trap, he catches something. He never misses with his gun. As he says, he feels like he's a chosen one of the favoured. And that's when it changes. That's when he stops being a poacher. The adventure's gone out of it, the fun. And he becomes somebody who just admires the wildlife, is a caretaker of the wildlife. And then it cuts back to the pub, all the faces rapt, listening. Some disbelieving, some half believing. No one knows the truth. In the credits, we finally see who the figure was. It's credited to Pan. Pan, the god of the wild. One of the great ancient gods. So, that's The Poacher. Lovely little bit of TV programming. Well worth a watch. And if you like this video, press like and subscribe. Until then, take care, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.